Hey, hi guys, this is Faizan and welcome to today's session on common coding interview problems. Okay, so before I start, can you guys quickly confirm in the chat if I'm audible? Is the screen visible to you? Is the slide deck visible to you guys? Can you see the pointer over here? If yes, then quickly write it in the chat. So in the meanwhile, let me give you a quick tour of how our academy looks like. Okay, so just go into your browser, any browser, right? So right now I'm using Google Chrome. Okay, so type in Great Learning Academy. The first link that will be there, right? Let me just go back, and as you can see, the first link I have typed Great Learning Academy. The first link that you see over here, just click on it, and this will redirect you to this page. Now here are different things that I will brief you. Okay, so first you have the career path. In this you have this IT and software, wherein you can go for different domains, right? Software developer, right? Front end developer, right? Information security engineer. So these are all the part of this IT and software. Once you click on it, here you will see what are the different how you can become a software developer. Okay, you can go through it and just have to sign up. Okay, and then if you, let me just close this. Yeah, then we also have what career transformation programs, okay, from different universities. Just click on it, and then you can see that over here we have different career transformation programs. If you talk about in the field of software and development, right? So you have these courses, right? These are all paid courses, right? You have a MCA degree program for 2 years. Okay, so you can go through it and register yourself. If you have any questions or queries, you can call on this number 080, right? You can see over here, right? Cool. So now these are all the part of paid courses. Now if you're looking for something which is absolutely free, just scroll down, and these are all the popular courses which are absolutely free, and they will be approximately to 2.5 hours to 1.5 hours. Okay, so if you're looking for something which is in IT and software, like data structures, algorithms, Java, Python, HTML, CSS, right? All of these courses are absolutely free, and in order to register yourself in these courses, right, you can see over here, just click on one of them. Like I have clicked on CSS. Just enroll yourself, and this is the length duration of this course, and there will be a quiz associated with it at the end. Okay, and what are the things that you are going to cover? So that is over here, the list of topics that will be covered in this course, almost everything. But yeah, since it is a 1.5 hour course, right, the duration is 1.5 hours. So the topics will not be they will be there, but yeah, not in let's suppose if you have 100 attributes in CSS, right, or in HTML, only 10 will be covered. Okay, so so once you are done with this entire section, then in order to get the completion certificate, which will look like this, you need to answer 6 questions correctly out of 10. Okay, cool. So this is all in the field of IT and software. So we have different domains as well over here: interview preparation, big data, marketing and finance, right? So all of these are over here. So now if you're looking for something which like these, right, the live sessions that we take usually, so you can go through them. Like right now I'm taking common coding interview problems. Tomorrow Ritvik is taking, right, on HTML and CSS. Then I'm taking on full stack developer, how to become a full stack developer, right? So if you want to view all the live sessions, you can click on this. Okay, cool. So without any further ado, let's get started with our session. So today we're going to talk about some of the common coding problems and how to we have some questions. I am from non-tech branch. Can I get any job after doing this? It depends, right? If you're looking for a software development role, right, are you looking for a front end, or are you looking for a back end? So you need to prepare accordingly. Obviously you will get something, right? You'll be able to start your career in, although the packages will not be that good as you have just started. So yeah, but yeah, there are job opportunities. Okay, but you have to be very focused in what you want to do. Don't go for full stack right now because you have just started. Try to go for front end or back end. Okay, so always get stuck during interviews. So this should help. Yes, this should John, this will give you some kind of intuition how to approach a problem and how to start thinking in a different way, right? Okay, cool. So now the first thing, let me just start with the most for front end, and I'm looking. Okay, so for Sonu, if you're looking for a front end, better go with HTML then CSS. Try to get the basic knowledge of both of them. We have already courses available on our Great Learning Academy as well as on our YouTube channel, which are absolutely free. You don't have to pay a single penny. Okay, then yes, Dipanshu, we have backend courses as well. Okay, just go through Which company will hire me without a degree? Without a degree, there are a lot of companies, right? So if you're looking for, let's suppose you don't have a computer science degree, right? You, okay, with a 3 year gap, can I get a job with average knowledge? It is difficult, but yeah, there are possibilities, right? If you have some skills, you better make some projects, make some assignments, add them into your resume, showcase your skills, right? You have learned this and then you have built this. For front end, Sonu, yes, HTML, CSS and JavaScript, go for that. Okay, for back end, maybe Node.js, okay, Node.js, or better go for React and Node.js. Okay, and if you're not interested in those domains, then you should probably go for Java and then Spring. Okay, Dipanshu, there are a lot of companies, right? TCS is there, Wipro is there, so these all companies will, there's a possibility, right? They might get, they might hire you. If you have, obviously, then there are hackathons on Hacker Earth, or you can go through those hackathons and give yourself a chance to participate in different interviews, right? Cool. So now let's start with the first problem. I will help you understand the intuition behind the problem. So the first is the basic problem, right? The Fibonacci series, right? We all know about it, right? So basically what happens? Can anyone tell me, sir, which full stack is better for future, mean or MERN? MERN. Okay, MERN. Or better not to go for mean or MERN, just start learning JavaScript, then go for React, then go for Node.js. Done. You're a full stack engineer. Okay. Okay, cool. So can anyone tell me what is the recurrence relation of this Fibonacci series? How do you calculate these numbers, or these what you say, how you generate this series? Can anyone tell me? You don't have to be absolutely perfect, but yeah, you can give me an intuition, right? So let's suppose the first number is added with the second and all, and okay, quickly, I'm monitoring your chat, guys, so you don't worry. So just go through it, go through this, think about this recurrence relation, and tell me how you can generate this. So the simplest way to generate this recurrence relation is, so the simplest way to generate this recurrence relationship is that you will add the previous number, and then the previous number. That means you are adding the two previous numbers. That means if you want to generate, let's suppose, this number, so what you are doing, you are adding this number and this number. So what is this? This is fib of, let's suppose if this is n, so you will say fib of n minus 2 plus fib of n minus 1. So this is how you are adding the previous two terms. That's it, simple, right? There is no addition of previous two numbers. The third number is addition of, yes, Anil, correct. Yeah, prior two digits, correct. So this is the series, this is the implementation, right? You have this n, that is the number. Now this is a program, or you can say the implementation of, let's suppose if I told you, give me the fifth number in the Fibonacci series, or give me the fifth element that is there in the Fibonacci series. So what you will do, you will check if the number is less than or equal to 1, then you will return. Okay, it can be the case that I'm asking you to give me the first number, right? What is the first number? If it is equal to, if num is less than, right, it is less than or equal to 1, that means this will be the same number. If it is 0, then 0 will be that number. So similarly, this is the base case, right? This is how recursion, how do we do recursion? This will be the base case. This is the recurrence relation, right? This is there so that you don't go out. That means if you don't have this base condition, then there will be an error which is known as Stack Overflow. Okay, so this is a simple implementation and we all know about it, and let's not waste any further time on this thing, right? Because we know how this thing happens, right? But this is not the objective here. Now what is the objective? Let me just go to the next question. Okay, so try to find out the number of binary strings without consecutive ones, right? So now you have this number over here, which is 2. That means there will be 2 digits, right? So you will be having a binary string, right? So that means you can either have 0 or you can have 1. Now the number of digits that will be there is 2. That means you can either have 0 0, you can either have 0 1, you can either have 1 0, or you can either have 1 1. So these are the 4 possible combinations, correct? So I'm saying that you need to give me the number of binary strings. That means these are all binary strings. Now you need to give me those binary strings which does not have consecutive ones. This is having a consecutive 1, so this will not be included. So the answer of this should be 3. Correct? So the answer is 3. Similarly, if n is 3, what are the possible combinations? It will be 0, 0, 0. Or if you're not familiar with this thing, how do you generate this truth table? Let me give you a simple hack. So if there are three, let's suppose if there are 3 digits, so you can write 0, 0, 0, 0, then you can write 1, 1, 1, then you can write 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, then you can write 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, so now you need to analyze, you need to give me all the count. I'm talking about the count here. The number of binary string means the count. Okay, so I want the count of those without consecutive ones. So here you can see consecutive ones, so this is not considered, this will not be considered, this will be there, this will be there, this will not be there because you have 2 consecutive ones, this will be there, this will be there, this will be there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So 5 is the output. Can anyone think of an approach? Quickly guys, try to make this session as interactive as possible. So the objective here, obviously we cannot cover that much in a 1 hour session, right? So we need to think how to approach a problem. What are the possible ways? Whenever you're talking about these counts, right? Find the number of ways with which you can do this, with which you can do that. The number of ways is there. So you always need to think of something which is already there. So think of some series, some arithmetic series or geometric series, right? So think of those series in terms of that, or think of something which we have already discussed in this session itself, right? So think of that. Can you think of something guys, quickly? Dipanshu says 2n minus 1. Okay, cool. Anyone else? So basically, Ritesh says bit manipulation. Okay. So I'm talking about number of binary strings. So guys, if let me be just say that this is a very easy question and this was asked in Amazon, right? Now the simple logic behind this question is that you will be using Fibonacci series. Okay, so how? So let me just show you. So let's suppose if there is on the number of digits is only 1, right? So you can either have 0 or you can either have 1. So the answer is 2, right? So now your n is 3. Now here n is 2. Your possible answer is 3. Your n is 3 over here, and your possible answer is 5. Now over here, if you see, this is 2 plus 3. This is the third term, right? So previous 2, if you do the sum of previous 2 numbers, that will be 5, right? So if I talk about if n is equivalent to 5, now here over here what happens if n is equivalent to 4? What will be the answer? Simple, the sum of 2 previous numbers. So there will be only 8 possible combinations in this when n is equivalent to n is equivalent to 4. Are you able to understand this? Quickly guys. BSc chemistry, okay, is doing from course, okay. Yes, Atla. Gaming, yes, correct. You can get a job in front-end development, right? So you just have to go through basics, all right? HTML, CSS, right? And then JavaScript. Then make projects. Make as many projects as you can, okay? So guys, are you able to understand this question? This is a simple question of Fibonacci series, right? Now, how easy it is. If you just observe the series, then calculate the number of answers, the possible answers, try to dry run it for multiple scenarios, right? So what I did, I just dry run it for 3. First for 1, then n is equivalent to 1, then n is equivalent to 2, then n is equivalent to 3, then n is equivalent to 4. Simple. And I was able to understand that, okay, this is the series that I will be generating, right? Correct, right? So how do you solve this? Simple. So again, you see this this function is over here. This is the base case, and then what you will be doing for 1 second. So for n is equivalent to 1, the answer will be 2, right? So we have already discussed it. For n is equivalent to 1, what is the answer? So the base cases will change. Only base cases will change. So for n is equivalent to 1, answer is 2. For n is equivalent to 3, n is equivalent to 2, answer is 3. Then you will do the Fibonacci. That's it. Okay. Is this thing clear? So the base cases will change, because now obviously when you have 0 digits, then there is no possible answer for that. So if you have 1 digit, that means you can either have 0 or you can have 1. At that time the base case will be this, right? For n is equivalent to 2. For n is equivalent to 1, answer will be 2. The second base case will be this, n is equivalent to, answer is 3. Then you just add them up. So answer is, if n is 4, you add the previous two numbers. If n is 5, you add the previous two numbers, and so on and so forth. Okay, cool. So this is simple implementation. The slide deck will be shared with you guys, so don't worry about copying this thing, copying the approach or all. So this is the base case. This is the base case when n is equivalent to 0. So you just return that there are 0 number of ways, right? Because you cannot get any answer. Okay. So this thing will be shared with you, the slide deck, so don't worry about it. Okay, so now let's move on to the next question. So now the next question is, count the number of ways to reach the top. You can take either one step or two steps at a time. So this is most common question, and this question was asked in Google. Okay, obviously now there is some different approach that they want at that particular time, but yeah, I will show you the simpler approach for now. Okay, so you can see that this was asked in Amazon. Again, it is the Fibonacci series. Now this was asked in Google. Okay, so now let's try to debug what I'm trying to say. So there's a staircase, right? This n means the number of stairs. So n is equivalent to 1. That means there's a one stair, right? There's one staircase. So how many ways you can reach over here? How many ways are there? So you can either take one step or two steps. So two steps is not possible because 2 is not in the picture, right? Now you can only take one step. So that means there is only one way with which you can climb this stair. Now let's suppose there are two stairs. One is this and one is this. So now over here, you can either take one step from here to here and one step from here to here. So this is a one way. That means 1, 1. Now the second way is you can take two steps at a time. This is the second way. So the total number of ways are 2, right? Now what about if n is equivalent to 3? Let me just clear out. Yeah. Now what if n is equivalent to 3? So you can either take one step and one step. That means 1, 1, 1 will be the possible combination. Then you can take 2 and 1. That means 2 and 1. This is 1. Then you can take 1 and then 2 steps. So 1 and 2. Right? So these are the possible combinations. So when n is equivalent to 1, let me just now do again the same thing. Try to visualize. When n is equivalent to 1, answer was 1. When n is equivalent to 2, answer was 2. When n is equivalent to 3, answer was 3. When n is equivalent to 4, we have already discussed it over here, and answer is 5. Can you think of something? What is this series? Quickly guys, what is this series? Try to visualize this series. Again, this is a Fibonacci series, correct? Guys, quickly interact with me guys, come on. Just write a yes, no, do you want me to repeat? Are you able to understand the questions? Guys, the main logic is Fibonacci series. I'm trying to understand, I'm trying to show you guys how to visualize a problem. This is very important. You cannot solve questions, right? You cannot solve more than 1,000 questions. It is very important that you just visualize the question and understand the intuition behind it. Okay, so again, this is a Fibonacci series, right? So how do you do this? This is basically the sum of two previous numbers, right? 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5. What will be the answer when n is equivalent to 5? It will be 5 plus 3, which is 8. So what is the solution for this? Again, for 0 and 1, the answer is n, because if you have 0 staircases, the answer will be 0. If you have one staircase, you will be having the answer which is 1. For the rest of the cases, is again the same recurrence relation, that is fib n minus 1, fib n minus 2, right? Correct? So this is the implementation done. So now let's move on to the next question. So now this is very important guys. So I have already taken sessions on competitive programming, right? So we have around 8 sessions on competitive programming. You can go through them, right? In order to understand how to solve a particular problem, how to reduce the time complexity. Yes. Weber says repeat. Do you want me to repeat this question? Weber? Is it clear for everyone else? Weber, if you're not able to understand, give it a go again. Just revisit this entire session once it is uploaded, okay? Anurag says, sir, which is better, ML, AI or software development through Java and all? Obviously, I would say software development because I'm not well versed with AI and ML, okay? Your certificates are valuable for company recruitment. Yes, Deepak, but yeah, you need to add projects, right? Learning something is a different thing, and implementing it is some different thing, right? So you need to understand, sir, why there is an argument n plus 1. Okay, yeah, over here you can either go for n plus 1, guys. So you can either go for n plus 1. This is the little hack that I'm doing over here. You can either go for n plus 1, or you can add over here different base cases, right? If n is equivalent to 0, return n, return 0. If n is equivalent to 1, return 1. If n is equivalent to 2, return 2, and then you can just reduce it to fib of n my n. Okay, you don't have to return this n plus 1, just like we did in the earlier question, right? So earlier again we can say that n plus, we could have returned, we could have called over here fib of n plus 1 or n plus 2, but yeah, since we have added these different individual base cases, that is why I'm not doing n plus 1 over here. So same thing can be done in this question as well. Okay, so add different edge cases or base cases, then it will work fine. Okay, cool. So now let's go ahead with the with the next problem. So the next problem is find the maximum subarray with size k. So this is a very important algorithm that we are going to talk about right now. Okay, so you need to find the maximum subarray. So what is a subarray? So 2, 5 and 3. Is this a subarray? Is this a subarray, guys? Yes or no in the chat quickly. Is this a subarray? Just write y or n. That's it. Quickly, guys. Is this a subarray 2, 5, 3, or you can say that 5, 3, 2? Is this a subarray 5, 3 and 2? Is this a subarray? Yes or no? Just write it in the chat. Do you think this is a subarray? This is what you mean by a subarray? No. Yes, correct. This is not a subarray, guys. So subarray means contiguous. That means one after the other. So this is not a subarray. 2, 5, 3 is not a subarray. When we talk about subarrays, it should be continuous. That means 2, 1, 5 is a subarray. Okay. This, let me just erase all things. So this is a subarray, this is a subarray, this is a subarray. Okay, when there is no space, no element left in between, that is what is a subarray. So 513, if you see over here, is a subarray. 513 is a subarray. Okay, so now yeah, subarray is contiguous part of the array. Correct. Okay, so contiguous. Okay, or continuous, right? So it should be continuous, right? So this cannot be a subarray. 2 is here, 3 is here, and 2 is here. This is not a subarray. Okay. Done. Now this is clear to you guys. Now what about the next things? So it says you have to find the subarray of size k. So k has been defined. So k is 3. So that means maximum elements that you can have. Yeah, it's a no, it's not a subsequence. Subsequence means that it can be, it may or may not be contiguous. Okay, so here we are talking about subarray. Okay, so now what happens, the maximum size that you can have is 3. It is maximum subarray. It is what do you mean by subarray? It should be contiguous. Okay, guys. Okay, great. So now the maximum size that you can have is k. Okay, now what is k? K means that the size is 3. So now in this subarray, you have to find that subarray whose size is k, that means whose size is 3, and the sum of those numbers should be maximum. So if you talk about this 215, this is a subarray of size 3, right? But the sum is what? 8. This is a subarray of size 3, but the sum is 5 plus 1 plus 3, which is 9. So you need to find that subarray. Okay, now try to visualize this problem. There are many naive approaches that you can find, right? So one is looping around it, for writing a nested loop and doing this. But the best approach is that you will be using the algorithm which is known as sliding window. Why? Now why there is a window, because why I'm using the sliding window, because there is a window associated with it. What is that window? That is this size k. If this size k was not there, if this is not present, then there's a different algorithm. We are going to talk about that as well. Okay, so now how sliding window works. So first you are going to find the window. Once you have that window, that is over here, so 215 is this size, that is the 3, which is your window. Now what you will be doing, now once you have this window over here, then you will be removing the previous element, because obviously it should be contiguous, right? So now you have that liberty to remove the previous element. Now you removed this 2 and added a new one, that is this one, in the window. And in the meanwhile, what you are doing, you are calculating the sum as well. So here the sum is what, 8. Here the sum is 7. Now here the sum is 9. Now here the sum is 6. So obviously now you will be having some kind of a variable which will help you to store the maximum out of these, and that will be your answer. So let's try to understand the implementation. So implementation is fair and simple, right? So you will be having sum, which is the basically the total sum, which will help you to understand, which is basically the sum is the sum, that is the sum of the current window, the 3 elements, right? And the maximum sum will help you to get the overall maximum of this problem, right, which is this. So these are all your sum, and now you will see, is this maximum or this maximum? So the max sum will calculate this 8. So then you will have this 9. You will check, is this 9 or 8 maximum? Maximum sum will be updated. So sum again will be 6. So you will check this. Okay, can we use a Q here? But you will be using extra memory. Anil, you can use it, but why you will go for an extra memory when you can solve it in a constant space, right? Cool. Obviously, Anil, there are a lot of approaches that you can think of. It is good that you came up with this approach, that you will be using a queue, right? You can use it, even if you can use a array or a string, you can use anything. But why do you want to use an extra space, right? Yeah. Obviously, now if you're not familiar with this question, obviously you will come up with this approach that I will be using some extra memory, and it is advised to all of you, whenever you don't know a question that you haven't solved in your life, go with some extra space. Okay, then interviewer will give you a hint. Okay, can you think of a better approach, right? Let's try to not use any extra space. Have you heard about this thing? Have you heard about that thing? Then he will give you some hints in order to remove that space, right? Go with the space. Okay, go with some basic not naive approach. Yeah, but let's suppose if you haven't solved this question before and you don't know anything about it, go with the naive approach. Go with 2 for loops, then try to reduce it. Talk to interviewer. Okay, so sir, I'm thinking about or you can say that hey Rakesh, I'm thinking about that I will be using 2 for loops. He will say that, okay, no, try to think of a better approach. Try using time complexity of n. You can use extra space. Okay, then Anil says, okay sir, now I think, okay, I will use some extra space. Maybe I will use a queue and try to solve this, and I can solve this in a linear time, right? So try to interact with your interviewer as much as you can. Okay, so now coming back to the problem. So this is a pointer which is window start. That means let me just clear out my screen. So I'm trying to debug this problem. Okay, so this is the array, this is the window start, and the window end is over here. So window end is over here. Now you have 2 variables, one is sum and another is the maximum sum, okay, which is here. Okay, both of them are 0 at the time, and then you have some elements in the array. That is not the point. Okay, so now what you are doing, you are traversing through the whole array. We can't find the approach in the interview. Then obviously then try to solve with the most naive approach, right, using 2 for loops. Okay, Anil, so then you will if you cannot solve it in an efficient way, then it is up to an interviewer if he selects you or not. Okay, that is something dependent on company to company. Let's suppose if you are trying to solve a question in Amazon, right, they will ask you for the most efficient approach. They will give you hints, but yeah, then there are the possibility of getting selected is what, a 10% chance maybe, right? Okay, so now what happens over here, Okay, cool. So now what happens over here, we will add this pointer, whatever is the value over here. Let's suppose, let me just take an example of the previous one, which is 215. Okay, one second, my pointer is gone. Yeah, so which is 215 132 2 215 1 3 and 2. Okay, so this is the array. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm calculating this, I'm traversing through the end of the array. Okay, so this is the window end, which will help me to traverse through the array. Now this is window start, will help me to remove those elements from the array. Okay, fine. So now what I'm doing, I'm checking if obviously now if the window should be less than the length of the array, then I'm adding this 2 in the sum. 2 is been added, window will be, obviously now this won't be executed because we are not in the range. That means we have not exceeded the window, which is 3. So we update this, we add this 1 to the sum, which is 3. Now again we will check if this window end, which is currently at 1, is 1 greater than or equal to k minus 1, which is 2, right? 3 minus 1 is 2. So obviously it is not greater than, then window end will be over here. Okay, so again this will not be executed, this if. So again we will be adding, so the current sum is 8. Okay, so now window end is here, and now we will increment, we will do the increment of window end, so we will be over here. This time window end is 3. So now window start is at its position, that is at 0 index. Now we will be exceeding this window, right? So now once we will add this thing, right, we will add this 1 to the window, which is 9, right? Then we will check, is window end greater than or equal to k minus 1? This time around it is what? 2, the 3 and is less than or equal to 2, right? So now what we will be doing, we will be decrementing the first element at this index, which is window start. So 2 will be decremented. So once we decrement 2, we will have this 7 over here. Then we increment our window size, because now we have this particular window, right, of 3 elements. Correct? You just dry run it, and then finally we'll update our which is the, obviously we'll be checking also the maximum sum. So the earlier sum was 8. Now the new sum is 7. We will check the maximum and we will store it inside this maximum sum, which will be 8. Okay, so just like I told you in this case, so you will be having these sums 8, 7, 9, and then you will be updating this maximum sum, and that's it. Okay, so you just do a dry run of it. Okay guys, so the intuition should be clear. Okay, got it. Now what if, now you are saying that, okay sir, now here the size was given to us. What if this size is not there? What if this size is not there? What will happen in that case? So I will say that, okay, in that case there is another approach, right? So let's suppose this is the problem, maximum subarray. Find the maximum subarray. Now the that is not given to you. What? The size, the window size is not given to you. Can you use this sliding window algorithm? Can you use that algorithm? No. In place of less, greater than or equal to, can we use greater than? So in place of this, okay, one second. Okay, you're saying that in place of this you will be using greater than. Then you should not use this k minus 1. Okay, you should use only k. Okay, so that you don't exceed above, you don't exceed the window. Okay, cool. So now you cannot use sliding window because you don't know the window size. Now the window size is not given to you. Now over here, the most efficient algorithm that you should use is known as Kadane's algorithm. Okay, so this is the most important algorithm when you don't know. No, this is not a Fibonacci series, Utkarsh. Okay, so now this is the most important algorithm when you don't know the window, and this is known as Kadane's algorithm. Okay, so now let's try to visualize how this works. So this is your array, right? Okay, so let me just show it over here with this algorithm. So let me just use this example again. Okay, so -2, 1 and 5, one second, -2, 1 and 5, then you will have 1, -3 and 4, 1, -3 and 4. Okay, so this is the algorithm. Okay, so this is known as Kadane's algorithm. Now how does this work? So you have this array over here. Now we will be again using the concept of local and global. So local will give you the local maximum and the global will give you the global, just like sum in the earlier case and max sum. So this is same, local and global. Okay, so now these are two variables. So in global, I am initializing it with the minimum possible value, which is -1372, whatever it is. This is the most negative, the most minimum value. Okay, right? And the local is 0. Now what we are doing, we are traversing from I to the length of the array, that is from 0 to over here. Okay, this is the iterator that we have. Okay, try to visualize this problem. Now why we are doing this? Because we don't know the window size. Okay, so now see what we are doing. So again, the same step that we were doing in earlier algorithm, right? We are adding to the local, we are adding ARR of I. So what is ARR of I? It is -2. So the local will be -2, correct? Now we are checking if global is less than local. Is global less than local? Yes, global is something negative, right? This is some negative value. Sir, what is global and local and global here? I told you, right? So, railway and gaming with, okay. So, right, I told you what is a global. So this is a max. This is max sum. This is sum that we saw in the earlier case, and this is max sum in this case. Okay, so global will be the global maximum and local will be the local maximum. Okay, simple. So now what is happening, since -2 is greater than the global value, so the value will change. So what I am saying, global is equivalent to local, so this will be -2. Okay, now is your local less than 0? Yes, it is, so it will be 0. Okay, so sir, which is the most demand AI software, which is in which has the most demand, AI software development or machine learning? Everything, what I can say, so AI is also there, it is right now in demand. Software development has been already it has been in demand for quite a while now. Machine learning is, yes, it is also in demand. So it depends on personal preference, right? So I have a good hold over software development and I want to do something in that domain, so that is why I'm going with software development. Okay, so it is not something that these things are not in demand. These are the most demanding careers that one can have, right? Machine learning, AI, data science and software development. Okay, so cool. So now this is the thing, this is the, after one iteration, this happened. Why? Now you might be thinking, okay sir, this is for calculating the maximum value that we are checking, global is less than local. This is this if condition is for that, right? But why we are doing this if condition? Why we are checking if local is less than 0? Because we don't want, let's suppose if there is a negative elements in the array, right? All the elements are negative and there is only one value which is positive. At that time, if you don't have this condition over here, you will get a negative value and you will say that that negative value, let's suppose that negative x is your value that you will be getting, will be your maximum, but that is not the case, right? So let's suppose if all the elements are negative, -1, -2, 5, -5, and then you have 1, then you have -3, then you have -4. If this condition would not be there, so you will be getting -1 plus -1, -2 plus -1, which is -3, -8, then you will get -7 over here, then you get -10, and then you get -14, and you will say this is the maximum value, but this is not true. What is the maximum value? Maximum value is this one. Okay, so in order to get that one and update our global accordingly, you need to have this condition over here. Okay, is this thing clear? So this is the little hack that we will be doing in this Kadane's algorithm. Okay, so now let me just erase some part of it. So after one iteration, you will be having 0 in your local and -2 in your global. Done. What happens in the next iteration? So let's remove all of this stuff. This is very important, guys, and this algorithm can be used in multiple scenarios. Okay, so let's just remove all of this and let's go back. Yeah. So you will be having -2 over here and 0 over here and -2 over here, and your iterator will be at 1. So again you will be adding this to the local, right? So local plus a of I. So local is 0, a of I is 1. Done. Now you will be checking, is your global less than local? Is your global less than your local? Yes, global is less than your local. So now again you will be updating your 1, right? You will be updating your global to 1, and then is local less than 0? No, it is not. So local is 1 after the second iteration, and global is also 1, which is absolutely perfect, and this is what we want to do, right? And similarly you can go through all the array. Okay, or you can traverse through whole array, and this is what you will be doing. So this is how you reduced, or you can say how you don't explicitly need to mention the window size, right? The window size was not there, but still you managed to find out the local and global values. Okay, and then finally what you will be returning, you will be returning the global value. Try to do a dry run of it, right? And then you will be able to find the solution of it. Okay, is it clear, guys? Quickly just confirm in the chat. I know this is a little bit difficult, but yeah, once you do the dry run of these problems, this will be easy for you. Now also obviously there is a correlation between the earlier problem and this problem. In this problem the size was given to you, right? And that is why you use that window size to calculate the local global maximum, right? Similarly, what if we want to find the first index and the last index of the, okay, you want to find the indexes as well. So at that time what you will be doing, you will try to store that elements, right? Let's suppose this is your array, right? Dipanshu, let's suppose this is your array. Now try to store this inside some array, or inside some array list, right? Try to store this inside some array list, and then once you have that, and only when you have that thing available to you, then you can print that array. Now if you don't want to print that subarray, then array list is pointless. Don't use array list. Try to use some indexes I, and let's suppose starting index S and ending index E. Try to use these things and try to update this, because you will be having those iterators for you, right? So you will be having those iterators, only then update them. Okay, so these are all the variations of this. If you want to print the subarray, then what you will do? If you want to find the indexes, right? You want to find the length, right? At that time indexes will come into picture, right? Your indexes, first index and the last index. Okay, so these are all the variations of the same question. Okay, Dipanshu, cool. So now let's move on to the next question. Now this is the most commonly asked question across the all the different companies will ask you this question, but with a different approach, with the different scenarios. Okay, but the main logic will remain the same. Okay, so now let's try to visualize this problem. So you have this array over here, right? 2 5 4 1 7. So these are all this is the length of a rope, right? Now what the question is, you want to minimize the cost of connecting these ropes. So this is the cost associated with this while you are connecting this rope with this rope. This is the cost, right? When you add them up, this is the cost that you will be getting, and now you want to minimize the cost. Okay, so let's suppose you have 2 5 4 1 7. I want to add them together, right? I want to add them together, and you want to minimize the cost. Okay, so let's suppose if I am adding this unit and this unit, right? This is one unit, this is the other unit. I want to add these two units. The cost will be 7. Now this is the new unit I will be getting. Now I will be having this array as something like this. Now the cost is already 7. Now I will be adding this unit and this unit. The cost will be 11. So the total cost is 18. Okay, so now I'll be having 11, 1 and 7. I'll be adding this unit and this unit, so the cost will be 12, and then you have this unit. Then I will be adding this unit and this unit, so the cost is obviously this will add up here. Then I am adding this cost and this cost, this unit and this unit, so the total will be 19, and I'll be adding this to the total cost. So if you observe, the total cost over here is what, 11 plus 19 is 30, then you have 12, then you have 7, so that means 49. This is the cost that I am getting when I am doing a simple addition, right? I'm not doing anything, I'm not using any different strategy or any different data structure over here. I'm just adding them up. But this is not the minimum cost. As I can see over here, the minimum cost is 41. Okay, are you able to understand the problem, guys? Quickly confirm in the chat, write a yes or no. I know this, if this is the first time that you are going through these coding problems, it will be difficult, but yeah, trust me, if you get a hold of these problems, it will be much easier for you to understand. Okay, because these problems are asked many times, right, with the different variations. Let's suppose right now I'm saying cost of connecting ropes, they will say cost of what, petrol, while while the cars are traveling. I want to minimize the cost of petrol, right? So different names, but the problem is same. Okay, quickly just confirm in the chat if this problem is clear. Okay, so can Kadane's algorithm can Kadane's algorithm is solution for window sliding? Yes, that can be a solution, but yeah, there, if you use the Kadane's algorithm in the sliding window algorithm, then you won't be using that window size, which is pointless, right? If something is given to you, yeah, I will show you how 41 is the answer. Okay, so now let's just visualize this problem. Okay, so now let me just clear the screen. Okay, so now if you observe carefully, if I am adding the minimum two values in this array, so over here the minimum two values are 1 and 2, which is 3, so the cost will be 3. Now the new array will be 3, 5, 4, 7. Okay, so this will be this, and this is gone, so this will be a new 3, and 5, 4, 7 will be as it is. Okay, so this is the new array and the cost is 3. Now again I'll be adding two minimum values, 3 and 4. Okay, so 3 and 4 is 7, so the cost is 7, and the new array will be 7, which is the cost, and 5 and 7 as it is. Okay, again I'll be adding the minimum two values, which is 5 and 7, which will add up to 12, and the new array will be 12 and 7, this 7 as it is, and the cost, which is 12. Again I'll be adding two minimum values, which is 7 plus 12, which is 19, and this is the cost. Okay, so now if I am adding this up, right, if I'm adding this if I'm adding these things, so the total cost will be, this is the same thing, right, 3, 7, 12, 19, 3, 7, 12, 19, so the total cost will be 41. Is this thing clear, guys? Are you able to understand how you will be able to get this 41? Can anyone tell me what is the approach that we will be using over here to minimize the cost of connecting these ropes? Railway, did you get it? How you will be able to get this 41? Quickly write it in the chat. Yes, no, maybe. So you will always pick the two minimum values. Okay, so in this case 1 and 2, then 3, and what was the next minimum? 3 and 5, 3 and 4, then 7 and 5, and so on. Okay, is this thing clear, guys? Quickly, yes, no, maybe. Okay, great. So now let's look at the approach. Okay, so the approach is that you will be using a priority queue. In Java, you have this inbuilt class that you can use in your collection frameworks, which is a priority queue. And how do you use it? You will use a priority queue, and you will say that you will name it as heap, because this is how an heap works, right? So you will use a priority queue, and in that priority queue, whenever you're trying to dump your values, so as you can see over here, just visualize this set of code. Okay, I am dumping all the values in the heap, right? All the values are present in the heap. So now how does heap work? the minimum value that is there will be at the top, and rest I don't care what are the other values. The minimum element will be at the top. This will act like a min heap. Okay, so this is the heap that I will be creating over here whenever I'm doing heap.add, which is adding into the heap, and the topmost element will be the minimum element in the heap. Now once I have this heap created, I'm dumping all the elements. Then I will stop unless and until the size is greater than 1. As you can see over here, the last element was 19, right? And I will stop, okay, at that time. So now as you can see that over here, what I'm doing, I'm removing the first element, right? So 1 will be removed. Then the whole heap will change, and again the minimum element will be at the top. So again in the next remove, the second minimum will be there. I am adding them up, I am storing them in the temp, right? And I am calculating the minimum value, which is my answer. Basically I should write it as result. So I am adding them in the min. So let's suppose 3, I have added it in the min, right, which is the minimum value that I will be getting, and I will be returning the minimum value, which is my answer basically. Okay, and then what I'm doing, I'm adding this min again in the heap, and that is I'm adding this 3 again in the heap. Okay, so now after first iteration, what will happen? I'll just clear this out. After first iteration, I have removed 2 elements from the heap, right? So heap size is reducing one by one. I am reducing the heap size. Okay, so my min will have 3, and my heap will have again the minimum element in the whole heap, which is after removing the 2 elements, which is 3, because 3 and 4 are the next 2 minimum elements. Again I'll be removing, so 3 will be removed. Again the whole heap will change its whatever is the heap that it does, it will rearrange its elements that it does internally itself. Okay, so again the minimum element will be 4, which will be at the top. I will remove that element as well in this step. Again I will add them up. Again it will be added in the heap in the min, which is this, the minimum value. So 3 plus 7 is 10, right? And again the 7 will be added in the heap. Okay, done. So let me just clear this. In my min, what will be the value? It will be 10. In my heap, the minimum element is 5, and then we have some elements in the heap as well. So again the min size, heap size is again reduced by 2, right? Again I will be removing 2 elements, which is 5 and 7, which are 2 minimum elements, right? I will be adding them, which is 12. I will be adding them up, which is 12, right? And then what will happen? I will add them into the min, which is 22 will be the answer, and then I'm adding this 12 in the heap again. So in the heap, now what I will be doing, I'll clear my screen. I will have in my min, I will have 22. In my heap, I will be having what 7 and 12 are the 2 elements that will be present in the heap. Okay, so now what I'm doing, I'm removing the heap 2 elements from the heap, which is 7 and 12, right, which is 19, right? 7 and 12 has been removed, and temp is 19. I'll be adding this temp which is 19 to this min, which is obviously 41. In this case we'll add up to 41, and then again I'm adding this min to the heap, which is 19. Now this is the last element that is in the heap, so the size of the heap is not greater than 1. We will stop. Okay, we will stop and we will just remove the min, which is 41. Is this thing clear, guys? How easy was this question? And this question has been asked in Google, Amazon, I don't know, Facebook maybe. Yeah, okay, you can check it. You have that on Geeks for Geeks, you have that archive where you can check in which companies this question has been asked. Okay, is this thing clear? So you will be having the minimum element, minimum sum, that is 41, will be present in the min, and you will be returning that minimum value. Okay, is this thing clear, guys? Quickly, guys, just write a yes, no in the chat. So this is how you implement this question. Okay, so it can be asked in different ways, different scenarios. Instead of writing directly cost of connecting the ropes, they will say different things. Okay, right? And this is how you do it. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed this session. Okay, and what is the next step that you guys should do? First of all, try to implement these questions on Geeks for Geeks or Lead Code. Once you are done, try to revisit the session and try to, or no, if you don't want to revisit it, it is absolutely fine if you are able to implement it in a single go. Now the second step is that You need to understand the question carefully. Try to do a lot of dry runs. Sir, explain the while loop. So basically, while loop is nothing but I am removing the elements, and then obviously while I am removing the elements, I am removing two elements, adding one element. So the heap size is reducing, right? So unless and until the heap size is greater than 1, because I know the last element that is there in is 19, so heap size will be always 1. So I am checking for greater than 1. If the heap size is greater than 1, I'll be removing two elements, adding them into my min, which is nothing but for calculating the sum, right? And then finally I am adding that again to the heap. Okay, all right, cool. So now the next step, what is that you should do? Try to dry run these problems and try to understand basically more how we are doing these things. Okay, how this works. Okay, most important question, that is the Kadane's algorithm and the sliding window. Try to visualize those problems and try to understand how those what is the dry run that you are doing, how the algorithm is following along, how you are able to calculate. Try to dry run it for different array elements, right? Negative array elements, positive array elements, what if all the elements are 0, different scenarios, guys. Okay, sir, is PHP programming useful? That right now PHP is kind of an obsolete thing, right? So it was used for business, at that time it was used for business programming, but right now it is kind of an obsolete, and it is very hard to find job opportunities regarding PHP on the basis of PHP who want PHP. But yeah, there will be some, but they will ask for a lot of experience. If you have that experience, then it's fine. If you don't, then try to change your programming language right away. Okay, all right, cool. Thank you so much, guys, and all the very best for your, if you are giving any interviews or if you are planning to go into hackathons, all the very best, and I will see you in the next session. Okay, thank you so much, guys. If you have any questions, you can post them in the chat, or else I will just conclude this session. All right. All right, thank you so much, guys. Thanks a lot.